to start with, we're going to take the car off the cribbage supports that I made and get it set up on some jack stands into the subframe. Then we'll place the cribbage supports right in back of them for a little emergency catch, just in case. Then we need to go ahead and remove the wheels and tires, and we can get started on this project. Also, very important, make sure that the car is stabilized before you get anywhere near the underside of that thing.
Okay, now that we have it stripped down, we're going to start off. Shock absorber. You got the top nut. It's a 9/16, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to remove it. There's that. Down below, you have your two nuts that retain, your two bolts that retain it. Those are 1/2-inch heads. There they are. Now, give it a little, oh, there it goes. And there's our prize. Okay, next. You have your sway bar end links. Mine happens to be a 9/16. Obviously somebody's played with this one before because it has energy suspension parts on it. A few gentle taps. And there it goes. Okay. There is our bolt, our lower, our middle, our sleeve, the upper part of the sway bar, the upper bushing, the upper washer, and our nut. There's complete end link assembly, ready to go. At this point, we're going to move on to taking off the tie rod. Next up is the outer tie rod end. I've already removed this cotter pin that was in there that was retaining it. So at this point, I'm going to go through, let's see here, yeah, it's 3/4 inch wrench. I'm going to go ahead, let's see. I'm taking most of the way up. Now, there's two ways we can do this. There's some edges here that you can take a hammer and you can pop the end and make it drop it down, release the press. I've got another tool here. This is a ball joint removal tool. So basically it's going to put pressure on this, forks right here, and push it down. So we're going to try it out and see. Actually, in this case, go ahead and take this guy off. Okay, we'll get it right over it. Oh my! And off it comes. That was a little bit more violent than I expected. Next, move up. We're gonna get our cotter pins from the upper, there it goes, from the upper nut and from the lower. And in this case, the lower one, it's missing, so we're already ahead of the game there. Next, we got a (15/16). Is that it? It feels a little sloppy on there. Let's try the bottoms. Yeah, it's on the bottom there. 15/16 on that. So here, let's do this. There it goes. Okay, now loosen, but do not remove these. This is basically our safety catch. I'm going to put a jack underneath here in just a second, just to be sure. but do not remove this. Okay, so what I've done is I've loosened the castle nut up to the point where the threads are right around where the top of the stud is. So just in case I should have to smack it or whatever, I mean, I'm not going to reuse it, but it's just a better idea to protect it. Now let me look at that upper one. Let's see, it's 15/16. Let's see. 7/8 is my other size. Let's see if this one fits it. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, that's better. All right. Okay, in hindsight, maybe I should have cracked this one loose before I disconnected that tie rod end. Well, that's all right. You know what? There's two ways to skin a cat. We'll just go like this. There it goes. And same plan here. Loosen, but do not remove. Got a jack under here. The reason for that is the spring, we're going to allow the spring to do some work for us and push this ball joint apart. That's the wrong size. There we go. Okay, so let's try this again. Now again, the nut's still on there. It's going to capture it, keep it from coming apart. And I've got this underneath there so it can only go so far. Let's try this. Okay, well, she's loose. As you can see, the jack was able to move up and the nut is holding it. There's a lot of spring tension on there right now. So let's play this game one more time. I don't know what I'm thinking. I was trying to do this non-destructive, that I'm thinking why, that was the whole purpose of showing the ball joint removal tool was non-destructive. Let's go old school to pickle fork. That's how I beat these things into submission when I was a kid. There we go. Ball joint's ripped to hell, but who cares? It's separated. Okay, these springs are wasted, by the way. I forgot to tell you guys this earlier. They've got spacer cushions in there. Everything else, they're just, I mean, they're still under pressure, don't get me wrong, but these things are just absolutely wasted. So what I'm going to do is I'm loosening this thing to the point. It's really sloppy loose right now, and I'm going to go get a friend of mine, the fire wrench, and I'm just going to cut the spring in half instead of messing with it. I mean, okay, so I went ahead and put the torch to it. You can probably see it right there. Took the tension off the spring. I've got this set, so I'm going to go ahead and lower this guy down. And there we go. We're now out. I can take the remnants of the spring out and I can start removing the control arms. And for those of you who want to see it, the spring was wasted, so yeah. Anyways, it's out and let's get started on the control arms. Okay, this is unfortunately how I'm having to remove these. I've got a just 3/4 on the nut, and then on the bolt head I've got a 13/16, and I've got it wedged in there. So, well, I did have it wedged in there. Anyways, I'll be back in a second. And finally, with this, our prize. Obviously, someone's in here before because these are supposed to have serrated bolts that hold the heads in, but whatever works. Probably some shims that are gonna fall. At this point, got my prize, who cares? On to lowers. 7/8 ratchet, 7/8 wrench, a pickle fork to help pry the lower control arm out, and a hammer to help tap the bolts through, but it's stripped. The other side is going to be exactly the same, and then you got okay, so right down there on your idler, there's two nuts right there. The bolts are accessed to the side of the frame, and then you got over here, right back down in there, is where the pitman arm connects with the steering linkage. You remove all that, thing drops out, and we start cleaning parts and refurbishing. Next video.